May I now request our Venerable Lieutenant General KJ Singh, TDSM, AVSM, sir, sorry, I think VSM, and you have one more declaration. My apologies, sir. May I now request you to kindly take on to the stage and give us your views on the subject. Please, sir.
Jai Hind, everybody, and good morning. I hope you all can hear me. What I intend to do is, I will switch off my camera because that improves the audio transmission. So I am switching off my camera. I am not a great person to look at. I am 65 years old. So my hair have gone gray. The part that you can see, though my hair on head are black still, but that I can't show you. I'm wearing a turban. So with your permission, I am switching off my camera. Yes, firstly, grateful Brigadier Dhiman and grateful the J&K Regional Think Tank. It's a wonderful initiative. I myself started Gyan Chakra, the first regional think tank in Chandigarh, Tri-City. And later we started Gyan Setu. So I get very happy, thrilled when we have proliferation of think tanks outside Lutyens, Delhi. Because thinking is not the exclusive preserve of people sitting in the capital. India is a federation and 1,000 ideas must bloom from all corners of different parts of the country. Coming to this problem that we are discussing today, when I was preparing for it, I must confess to you, I asked 5-6 people that how do you pronounce this word, which most of us call as Rohingyas. In Hindi, it is written as Rohingya in the Hindi vernacular press or regional press. Well, my finding is that in most of the places it is pronounced as Rohingyas. It is pronounced as Rohingya and not Rohingya the way many of us pronounce it. And while I was doing this, I also realized that China is developing a port in Myanmar, and that port is spelled as Kiyaykpyu. I'll repeat the spelling Kiyaykpyu. Most people pronounce it as Kyaku, but it's not that. It is Kyapu. Kyapu. Very snappy. So it's interesting to learn about the terms, their pronunciation, because life is, is a lifelong learning process. So coming to these Rohingyas, in Myanmar, the people who are from Myanmar, they call them Bengalis. They don't call them Rohingyas. And Rohingyas themselves don't want to be called Rohingyas. They want to be called as Arakkani Muslims. They want to be called as Arakkanis Muslims because they feel that they are indigenous to Burma. Earlier it was called Burma, and then it is now become Myanmar. Now we call it Myanmar, but it's actually Myanmar. So Myanmar, which has changed its capital also to Naypyidaw from what we thought as Yangon, or earlier it was called Rangoon, and Yangon, and now it has become Naypyidaw. It's a different city where they have their capital. So in the same process, they have jettisoned things like Burma. They don't call their province where these people reside as Arakan. They now call it as Rakhine. It is the Rakhine province. So Rakhine is a province in Myanmar, which is northern part of that is inhabited by what we call as Rohingyas, what they would love to be called as Arakkanis Muslims, and what Myanmaris call them as Bengalis. That's how it pans out. Now this complicated racial stock is basically Indo-Aryan. It is not Indo-Thai like rest of the Myanmari people. They are not of the Mongoloid or Thai stock. They are of the Aryan stock. So they obviously have come from outside. Where have they come from? The question is asked. They have come from Arabic traders which came to Kerala, which went to Myanmar, which went to even parts of Indonesia. So they have acquired their descent from there. And these people are in very large number living in Chittagong hill tracts, which is also called as CHT, which is, if you look at this Arakan province or Rakhine province, as it is called now, Rakhine province on the west has got Bay of Bengal. In the northwest, it has got the Chittagong hill tract of Bangladesh. Then it has got the Chin province. And Chin has got great relevance to us because today India is facing another refugee crisis, which is the Chin refugees. So for India, dealing with refugees is not an easy situation. For India, it's a very difficult problem. Why? Because India is hemmed in by large number of countries. Many of them do not treat their minorities well, and they tend to come to India. And India, on the other hand, is a very tolerant society. Even a lady like Taslima Nasreen, who's a Muslim, could not find peace in Bangladesh and had to come to Bangladesh. So India has had this history of Vasudev Kutumbakam or Mehmani Bhagwan hai, and receiving each and every one. So we have people from various countries which have come into our country, like we had Tibetans who came in 50s and they inhabit in Yol, in Yelenhanka, in parts of Delhi, in Majnu Ka Tibba and in Dehradun. So they have big settlements there. Then we have people who came from Afghanistan, Sikhs, Punjabis and traders. Actually, Dilip Kumar, who was Yusuf Khan, came from side of Peshawar. They came to seek business trade here. Even Raj Kapoor was from that same city. Then we have large number of Hindus, Sindhis, Punjabis, who come from Pakistan and who have been forced here. And then we have from the northeast, we have Chakmas. Chakmas, incidentally, are from Chakma hill tracts. And who has thrown them out? They've been thrown out by so-called Rohingyas. Because Chakmas are Buddhist. So Chakmas came to Arunachal, settled down there, and they also settled down in parts of Mizoram and Tripura. And over there, they have serious problem. They have formed an insurgent kind of group, which is called Shanti Vahini. And currently, India is facing a problem in terms of Chins. Chin is the neighboring province of Rohingyas. It's a neighboring province of Rakhine State. And Chins are coming into Mizoram and Manipur. They are being welcomed there because they are from the same stock. If you are from the same stock, you are likely to be welcomed. But if, like in Mizoram, Chins are being welcomed, Manipur, there is some resistance, but some parts which are ethnically similar, they are being welcomed. Similarly, Chakmas are welcome in Arunachal, not welcomed in Tripura and Manipur. So, Rohingyas can find acceptability in some parts of India, but not all of it, India. That is one thing which needs to be understood. Now, traditionally, why did Rohingyas fall out with Myanmar people? Because they favored British. Like minorities, typically like Parsis in India and some other minorities, even Muslims, were allies of British because it's always good to keep colonial power pleased if you are in minority. So they kept British pleased. They fought with the British army, whereas the Myanmari stock or the Buddhists of Myanmar had allied with Japanese because of similarity with that racial similarity. So there is this kind of angst which was there. And over the years, this kept on multiplying because people in that state of Arakan, which is now called Rakhine, wanted autonomy, wanted even independence, wanted a separate state. Now, they formed their own sort of Arakan Liberation Army. And currently, it has been overtaken by Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army, which is a kind of an insurgent group. Brigadier Dhiman was talking about Kaladan project. Well, the Kaladan project is stalled. It is stalled by whom? It is stalled by Arakan Liberation Army and Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army. They have stalled it. the ancient rebels. So if rebel groups are stalling our infrastructure build-up, then how are they going to find acceptability in India? Now, when I was army commander, I'm not taking a credit. This discussion was going on about Ravi and all. I am one of those people who went to your irrigation minister in Jammu and Kashmir, known as Lal Singh, who used to tie a pagdi, still must be tying a pagdi, and many leaders like Nirmal Chand, or Nirmal, what is his name? BJP leader. And Nirmal Singh ji, and I went to Jitendra Singh ji, and some other leaders. There is one very healthy leader who also became the deputy chief minister of J&K later. So these all leaders I met, and I was telling them that let us get this Shahpur Kandi project started. Shahpur Kandi is the reservoir which is being constructed now. Because of lack of Shahpur Kandi, all water used to flow into Ravi water used to flow into Pakistan. The main problem is lack of balancing reservoir, which is now being constructed. And you know what the politicians of J&K were saying? They said, हम मर जाएंगे, लेकिन पाकिस्तान, पंजाब के साथ कोई समझौता नहीं करेंगे. पंजाब ने हमारी बेइज्जती करी है. Ego के नाम पर they were preventing it. And thank God the BJP government has taken the ownership and told them, तुम दोनों भिखारी हो, तुम क्या करोगे? ना J&K के पास पैसा है, ना पंजाब के पास पैसा है, हम करेंगे. It's centrally funded, centrally monitored, centrally executed project. And so Shahpur Kandi is coming up. So the hydel projects in Uch, Bain, Tarna, Deg, Basantar are now taking place. This is because of push at that time we were trying to give. But allow me to tell you, J&K leaders, and I'm including BJP leaders, उनकी एक खासियत है, वो एक दूसरे से भी बात नहीं करती. If you go and meet them, they will say, आप किससे मिलके आ रहे हो? And if by mistake you say, मैं जितेंद्र सिंह के मिलके आ रहा हूँ, तो निर्मल सिंह जी will say, चाय मत पियो जाओ, चाय नहीं पिलाऊंगा तुम्हारे. So that is the status, and the same applies on Jitendra Singh ji. I'm telling you, that is the status of leadership in Jammu and Kashmir. पाकिस्तान से बात कर लो, पंजाब से बात मत करो, और दूसरे बीजेपी लीडर से तो बिल्कुल ही बात मत. And same is true for Congress. Same is true for National Conference. Please, I am not sparing anybody, but I am telling you the truth which I have faced. The second issue which I flagged, and you can check it out, there is a letter written by Headquarter Western Command. Early 2015, I wrote a letter saying Rohingyas have come and settled down in next to Sanjuvan camp. Please take note of it. Who's allowing them to settle down? No notice was taken. No, this is the sad part of our system. When I was a GOC in Hisar, I had flagged that this problem of Gurmeet Ram Rahim Singh will become larger than life. He's got short ranges. I had visited that place. In 2011, I wrote a letter. Nothing happened in poor parts of Chandigarh. So our system, unfortunately, is don't give any credence to somebody who flags the issue, and if possible, just brush it under the carpet. But let me come back to the theme. So Rohingyas kept on facing problems. They kept on moving out of Myanmar, and in numbers, because they came to Jammu not after 2017. The main problem came up in 2016-17 when there was a mass exodus, and it was covered by Facebook. Actually, the first wave of fake news and Facebook leveraged news was the Rohingyas news, because large number of pictures and snaps were printed, and that gave them the flavor of genocide. So Rohingyas, which were about 14 lakhs in Myanmar, they were reduced to a number of 6 lakhs. Where did the balance go? Balance went to Bangladesh. Already there were some of them there. Though Rohingyas of Myanmar, like I told you, do not want to be counted with Rohingyas of Bangladesh. They want to maintain their separate identity by being referred to as Arakanese Muslims. And Myanmar doesn't even want to acknowledge them as Rohingyas. They call them as Bengalis. And interesting fact is, 99.9% Rohingyas are Muslims, but there is 0.001% which is also Hindus. There are about 100 of them Hindus which are in India. It's an interesting fact. You may like to take. So in Pakistan, there are about 5 lakh of them. In Malaysia, there are 1.5 lakhs. In Saudi Arabia, there is 1.9 lakhs. They've even gone to USA, about 12,000 of them. There are enough people to give them air tickets, like what Brigadier Thiman is saying. So in India, there are between 40 to 65,000 Rohingyas. That much. And out of them, about 17,500 are registered. And where do they live? They live in places like Jammu, Hyderabad, in Delhi, in Kalundi Kunj, Khajuri Khas. You must have heard of one drive which was recently taken to sort of evict them and sort of to remove encroachments which they had done, including constructing a mosque. And they go to places like New Bengal, where they have their own ethnic people. And they must be in cities like Bhopal and others, where you have sizable kind of a population of Muslims. There is no harm in naming their religious stock because they follow Islam, most of them. So in Jammu, there are close to about 13,700 by some estimate, but some people say there may be even more, maybe around 16,000 in Jammu and Samba district, both very sensitive areas. Why have they gone there? Who got them there? Some accounts say that in 2008 onwards, they started coming when we had flagged this issue in Western Command. And by about time when we flagged it in 2015, 6,000 had already arrived. And after that, the second wave has come. And now the number has reached about 14,000. That is the number. And they live somewhere very close to army camps also, like Sanjuman and all. And Samba is a very sensitive place. It has seen 2 terrorist attacks. And the problem is not that all of them are bad. Only some of them may be Tabligis or Salafis or Hanafis or following the very extreme form of Wahhabi Islam. But like there is a famous saying, no one is safe till everyone is safe. The chain breaks at its weakest link. So if terrorist finds one weak link and finds shelter, then he can prosecute or she can prosecute their operations. India has got a stand. We are non-signatory to Refugee Convention. We have not signed the convention. So we are not bound by international norms, and we do not recognize the refugee card which is issued by UNHCR. We do not recognize it. I have told you about 17,500 cards have already been issued. But India also has a policy that it does not prevent activities of UN missions. So UN mission in Kashmir is there on Pakistan side. Sometimes they visit towards India side also. They had an office in New Delhi also. But we do not aggressively push them out. Now, what happens is, recently there was a case taken up in Supreme Court where a 14-year-old girl who had to be deported, her case was brought up. And Supreme Court rightly ruled that she has to be deported. There is no way. But after following the correct procedures, not giving any shortcut to procedures. Procedures are like interning them and taking care of them and giving due notices. Then another issue came up that her parents had moved to Bangladesh as refugees. So will she be sent to Myanmar or will she go to Bangladesh? So complexities are very large in this kind of shifting demographic stock. And it is, and for us, it's a big challenge because, we have short memories. Many of us tend to forget that this proxy war in J&K did not start in 89-90. It actually started in 47 when Colonel Tariq devised those Lashkars and those Kabailis and those people. And then in 65, he made the militias, not he, but his successors, and gave them names of Islamic fighters like Saladin like, these kind of names were given, and it carries on. Missiles are being named after, Tughlaq and Ghazi and Ghaznavi, and all this tendency carries on. But what we really forget is that far removed from where you are talking and where you all take so much of knowledge and intensity, in 1950, first time, Fizo Angami, the Naga leader, escaped to a country. Which country did he escape? Ask yourself. How many of you can answer this question? I challenge you. He went to East Pakistan. And East Pakistan actually became the staging area for Naga militants. Naga militants moved around from East Pakistan. Later, General Mobu Angami and others came there. Nagas were taken from here to Karachi, given special forces training. And thereafter, Anup Chetia and all these kind of insurgents, Anthony Shimran, they had their bases till Sheikh Hasina Wazid has now thrown them out. For India, there is a real challenge. We cannot wish them away. We cannot take it lightly. So what can we do? Can we throw all of them out? Sorry, while all of you may want to hear, yes, we must throw all of them out. It may not happen. It is unlikely because the kind of media attention it is there. But keep them out of sensitive areas. Keep them out of areas where, combined with Roshni Act, the aim may be to change the demography. Put them in pockets and underpopulated areas of similar kind of ethnicity. Keep them monitoring. Make sure they don't acquire their identification cards and papers, and internationally negotiate and ship them to countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE, Gulf countries, which have large tracts of land, which require labor population, and which have the religious affinity and obligation to look after these people. It's a very complex problem. It's a big challenge. But I would recommend that people in Jammu, and I must warn you of one thing, whatever one might say, Muslims have this tendency to be good mistris, good skilled labor, good tailors, good painters, good car mechanics. So this hunar, this shafa in their hand, enables them to find employment, and they take employment at cheaper rates. So the challenge for us is not, there's no fight between communities, but you must also skill your own communities. You must also register these people and sort of take a humanitarian angle, but take an angle which does not become a security issue for us. That is very important for us. With these opening remarks, I think I'll pause, and later if there are questions, I will try and answer. Thank you. And once again, grateful Brigadier Dean, the think tank of Jammu. I have been there many times. It was part of my responsibility. I did not face any terrorist attack in Jammu, but I did combat the militancy or extremism in Jammu, Kathua and Samba. We had an encounter at Arnia. We had an attack on Samba military garrison, and we had an attack on Arambagh or some next to Kathua, a police station which was attacked. And then there was an attack in Dinanagar and Pathankot. So I had to combat extremism over there. And I remember people, and I always felt, I will give one more suggestion if you all can accept it. The problem in this Jammu Kathua Samba belt is twofold. Because since you have the think tank, you must think of that. You are investing, and I blame Jammu lobby for it. I'm telling you on your face. Like I named the politicians, I will blame you all, Jammu lobby. You are making sure that all communication, all business flows through Jammu. So the new highway which is coming up, linking Amritsar to Kathua, is also being aligned in such a way that it includes Jammu. Whereas that is a wrong move. We should make an alternate connectivity. should invest in Dhar-Udhampur axis. Just before this, somebody was talking about that beautiful valley. Incidentally, sir, that beautiful valley is Dhar-Udhampur valley. We have to invest in that valley. We have to invest in this communication. We have to bypass Samba, Kathua and Jammu and gain depth. Then only Pakistan will stop attacking us in conventional ops and having terrorist attack on this line of communication. Because what happens today? The pilgrims traveling to Amarnath and Vaishno Devi become easy targets and it becomes a media publicity. But if you are traveling on Dhar-Udhampur road, it's difficult. You can't go there. Kathua and Samba are only 15-20 kilometers. You can come in 2 hours after getting through some nala, some tunnel or something. So think of that. And the second thing that which you all must think is, it's very difficult, but I must propose to you. It may not happen today, tomorrow, in 3 decades, but India must think of that the belt next to border, we must sanitize. We should not allow migrant population, not even Gujars. Today, what happens is migrant population goes there, makes deras. So is there a case to lay down that nobody will cross national highway? No migrant will cross national highway. They will stay on that side. There's enough land over there. Have your dogs there. Have your grazing there. But don't come on this side. Because when you come on this side, you become a kind of a staging area for terrorists who infiltrate. So these are 2 small unconnected points. But you are a wonderful think tank. So I thought I'll leave it with you. Thank you. And wonderful for giving me this opportunity. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir. Very enlightened in what you all have told us. Well, you have given us an overview about the Rohingyas. I'm sorry, I'm not able to pronounce it still what you did us today. I think it'll take some time. But nevertheless, we are aware about the general machination. How do they spread? What do they do? They normally find areas which are next to the cantonments and the sensitive installations. And I reiterate what I said earlier. Well, it could be a part of a plan. Maybe that is the way things are going. And regarding your first suggestion, sir, firstly, of course, you told us about the Shahpur Kandi plan. Well, we are with you, sir, absolutely. Had this been done when Indus Water Treaty was, conceived, at that time, this area from Jammu to right till Pathankot, Lakhanpur would not have been Kandi anymore. This would have been a lower Shivalik. They would all become absolute green and full of horticulture and beautiful valleys, sir. Lovely tourist places. Secondly, you talked about Dhar Road, sir. Let me tell you, first of all, I was Jeevan Officer 1 Corps during our Parakaram. We did develop it for the movement of the armor columns, sir, and that was practiced and done. But more than that, since your observation is very right, sir, this was even when Ranjit Singh's time, when this areas of Punjab to Afghanistan was under constant threat and total wars, whether it's Sikhs versus Afghans or Marathas versus Afghans or Afghans invading and all those things. All that traditional GT route, which was to be taken by the travelers, that had become unsafe. So that is the time Raja Ranjit Dev was ruling in Jammu, that is 1735. I may be wrong in my century and the date. But when it was his rule, that time they had developed a new route which has started from Nahan to Kangra to Dalhousie, Noorpur, Bhadrawa, and places like that. And that was all this, what we are talking east of that beautiful valley which you're talking. That was me who was talking about seeing from the air. Being an air defense guy, I always look down how the thing looks like to the enemy aircraft when it looks down. So I found very beautiful stuff there. So this was used in those times, and the Basoli culture, Kangra culture, that was a result of that. Nevertheless, thank you very much, sir.
Please like and subscribe.